My name is Erick Torres. I'm a fitness consultant and your grade A personal trainer. So this morning I had a trail mix, which was really just raisins, dried pineapple, and like sliced almonds.
Is that an everyday thing?
Nah, I kind of mix it up. Most days I really don't eat breakfast. It depends on how many hours of sleep I'm able to get or what it is I have to do in the morning. But typically like a clementine, or nothing. Usually I'll have water off the bat is always just first glass just to get it in me, even if I'm not thirsty. And then, again, it depends on what it is I've got lined up for the day. Usually I don't eat anything, and if I do, it's something like trail mix or like a piece of fruit. I mean, give you one thing or a couple things?
Whatever comes to mind.
I guess my knowledge of the whole training game now, when I was in high school, my senior year, I busted my Achilles and I couldn't play for most of the season, of the football season. And it took me like 9 months just to kind of get my strength back and my mobility back down there and be able to run around. And today I go through an injury, 3-4 days later, I'm pretty much okay. If it's a minor injury, 3-4 days later of knowing what to do and how to rehab it, has been a big game changer. So I think if I can go back 10 years, my recovery game would be so much different. Well, I took, I've recently picked up Muay Thai, and by recently I mean back in October, late September, October, and it's been a daily thing. And we do this, it's called Len Shen. It's like a play time, where you're basically sparring one another, but you're just going light. Not everybody goes light, especially the other new guys that go in there that haven't really found their control yet. And I took a kick to my calf, dude, my whole leg seized up, to the point where walking, bro, I was shitting my pants thinking oh my God, did I break it? What's going on? And I didn't break it. It was just a massive strain. It took me a good, I want to say 6 hours on and off of just icing and then Epsom salt bath, very light massaging, doing trigger point stuff just to kind of release the tension throughout the rest of my leg and my hamstring. And that was on Monday. It's Thursday, and I'm back in the in my little lab playing around. Oof, that's a very good question. I think just in the last 2 years alone, the evolution of programming for people, and it started out as if this is your practice or this is your hobby or this is your profession, this is how you should train. And it's gotten to a point where it doesn't matter what your profession is, what your hobby is. If me, this guy, and that woman over there share the same common interest, we can all train a very specific way for that interest. And it's a lot more broader of a spectrum. It's a lot more generalized, but twice as effective now, because the intent behind it is just so much more colorful. Nutrition, I'd say. Recovery as well, because a lot of people, they'll get a nagging injury and not realize that it's a potentially severe injury, and they'll ice it, and then they'll go right back to work and they'll do their thing, and it'll just create more problems down the road. But again, with the way that this game is evolving, that margin slowly dropping. I think it's just nutrition. A lot of people will try a ketogenic diet because they read it in Men's Health, or they'll try a Mediterranean diet because they heard about it on a podcast, but nobody really does their homework on it. And nobody really takes the time to kind of pay attention to what their body needs, whether or not it relates to whatever current fad it is. They're not trying to see if there's a match there. They're just oh, everybody's doing it. It worked for her and it worked for him and it worked for his dad. I'm gonna do it too. And then some people get sick. Some people get you know what I mean? It creates a bad domino effect when it could just all easily be avoided. It's a good one. Something that's true and most people don't agree on.
Or nobody agrees with you on. Something that you're always maybe talking about.
Well, it started out where I thought like, oh, nobody agrees with me. But the more fitness professionals that I speak with, the more coaches that I work with, I'm beginning to realize it wasn't just me. Like there is a great belief out there that like, for example, getting stronger. Oh, well, you got to lift weights, or, you know, you got to do Olympic style exercising. Like, actually, no, getting stronger is like having good cardio and like being able to do 20 push-ups and like not burn out to the point where you can't go pick something up. You know what I mean? A lot of people have this misconception of like strength being like these coming from these linear exercises and common exercises, when in all reality, it's like if you can't control yourself, and no matter what plane of movement, you have no business picking up, trying to, you know, toss weight around. It doesn't really work like that. And a lot of people, you know, they go to LA Fitness or they'll go to like a retro and like they'll see people doing concentration curls and they feel like, oh, that guy's huge. Like I'm gonna be like him, he's so strong. Ask that guy to do 25 push-ups in straight shot, and let me see how that's gonna work out. Most of the time, those guys, they get like 10 push-ups in, half reps, and then 10 more. You know what I mean? They don't really. It's kind of a bummer, the ideology of like, oh, I'm gonna lift weights and get so strong. No, you'll get big. You ain't gonna get strong though. Networking. So I started teaching classes about 6 years into being a personal trainer, and because of the work, I could have just been a personal trainer for 1 year. I was very fortunate to be able to build rapport with people, like on a one-on-one level, that the relationships would kind of like they would re-sign, and like a 3-month program would turn into a 6-month program, and then a year. And when I started teaching classes, like my first day, I had like 12 students in there, and out of the 12, like 6 of them worked with me one-on-one, and then the other half were like people that they referred. And I came to realize like you don't got to be the super flashy on social media. You don't got to be like, don't get me wrong, it helps, but in all reality, knowing your stuff, knowing your art, and being able to translate it to anybody, like bro, that alone spreads. Like word of mouth there's nothing greater than that. So I'm in a transition period of careers right now, which is gonna pretty much kick in the door for my availability. And right now I'm shopping. So if there's anybody out there that's selling space, looking to rent space, yeah, let your boy know. Cause I'm looking for like a commercial area where I can bring my practices for the one-on-one training, but more so have an area dedicated for classes. The types of classes I teach are very unconventional in like the commercial environment. You'll have like your HIIT classes or your like your body works classes or your strength classes. I kind of like to blend everything. So like I'll have like a class on just mobility, and then I'll have a class on like self-dominance and like body strength, which adds like awareness and injury prevention and so forth. And then I'll have a class on like weight training. So I kind of try to mix it up, and whether it's a circuit style, a boot camp style, I'm looking for an area that's going to allow me to kind of run across the whole map, rather than just like, okay, this place is just going to be for weights. You know what I mean? I'm looking for like a broad place like that to just kind of like let my passion just kind of pour out everywhere. I'd say, so there's a few teammates that I have, and I call them teammates because like we're pretty much like, it's a team environment where I train now, where I practice Muay Thai. There's a couple of guys in there that are pretty interesting. One like he was an Army Ranger, and now he's going to school in Columbia University. And this kid still, like, he's trying to be a professional for whatever it is that he's going for, but he'll still find time to train. People like that they just have this like electric personality. Like he's one of them. My coach is another one, and I've got like 5 coaches that we all have to like kind of learn from. But there's like 2 main head coaches. Either one of them are badass. They both competed professionally. They both are, one's a scientist, the other's a physical therapist, but they love what they do. They found a venue, they teach classes, they teach fighters, they teach anybody one-on-one. So like those are people that like I emulate. So if you're, I'm honored that you decided to sit down and speak with me today. But like these are the people that kind of feed my passion. These are the people that I try to like mimic and like emulate moving through life. So those will probably be the best spots to go to next.